Attention pro athletes. Want to secure your financial legacy and thrive off the field? Oakbridge Wealth Management, led by wealth manager Chris Anicetti, is your dedicated financial planning ally. But don't take it from me. Take it from the Dallas Cowboys' Tyler Biadasz. He says, Chris set goals financially and has been incredibly impactful in my journey in the NFL. Experience our customized, comprehensive approach, trusted by top NFL players. Don't leave your financial success to chance. Connect with Chris on Instagram at OakbridgeWM_Anicetti. That's OakbridgeWM_ANICETE, and let Oakbridge Wealth Management guide you across the goal line.
First sheet again, big opening, pass 5, pass 10, Herbert on command, and he goes all the way to the 15-yard line. 17 yards of the carry.
Welcome back to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by BetOnline.ag and Oakbridge Wealth Management. Once again, I'm Matt Perkins, joined, as always, by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein. Bernie, how are we doing today?
Oh, man. If I see Brian Bott on a screen, it is a holiday times 10. I was scared of this guy for like 5 years, and now I just love him to death.
Yeah, just raving fear into the hearts of Badger players in the early 2000s.
Well, one thing I appreciate about that is that Bernie is always on time for everything that we do. He is on time, and I absolutely love it.
Oh, I would have been in the step mill today. I would have been step milling for a half hour with the weight vest, holding the med ball over my head today. That's on me, my fault.
Oh,
I hate my
you
bad.
Would have been...
I'll never say my bad. That was my fault. I take ownership for it, but I will not say my bad.
Wait, but before we start, so I go to Orange Theory now because I'm old and my body's kind of worn out, but I love this workout. And people in the workout yawn, and it offends me beyond belief. Tell the people in this world why it would offend me that somebody yawns during the workout.
Hit them. It's 25 push-ups immediately. And it's like it's like playing that game Assassin that the kids play nowadays. Have you ever heard of that game? So at school, the seniors play this game. It's called Assassin. It's all with water bottles. And so you get a name, right? So like Bernie, like if we were going to school together and I had your name, I would have to squirt you with water and you'd be out of the game, and the winner is the winner. That's kind of like what the push-up thing was in the weight room at Wisconsin. It's like you're always looking for something. You're trying to catch someone to like put them down on the ground, and then almost like make yourself feel better to make like me or JD or Herb's like, oh, good job. Like you're helping us out. You're like instilling discipline in these kids because it's 5:45 in the morning and everybody's walking around the weight room like this
with no coffee. I mean, I took my what's it called? My creatine like 10 minutes before and it didn't kick in yet. It's just so funny because I think about these things. I think about obviously Wisconsin football all the time, but these things I think about more than others because when I see someone literally, it could be like anyone just yawn once. And I'm like, how dare you do this in workout? And nobody knows, like nobody else was a D1, football player at Wisconsin who, when you don't go to a bowl game, a lot of these new punishments get enacted. But it really, like, to this day scares me. I won't even yawn. I don't think I've yawned in a workout in 20 something. How long have I been out? 17 years?
Yeah.
Do you yawn in the weight room?
Oh, I let it rip. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I'm so empowered right now by my own personal well-being and feeling of myself that I just let it rip right now. I'm past that point of trying to impress people.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, Matt. Do we still have more ad reel to talk?
I gotta remind the good folks tuning in across the globe, across the universe, wherever they happen to be, that do I sound like I'm cracking? I found like my voice. Is that any better now? Or
you sound like auto-tune. It kind of sounds cool.
Is it still going on or is it stopped?
No, you sound good now.
Okay. I don't know. I've got this weird interface. I will cut this out, or maybe I won't. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Matt, you can go on. Me and Bernie will just handle it.
Well, I'm sure it'll be fine, but I do want to remind good folks tuning in wherever that they may be that we are presented by betonline.ag, where they continue to be your number one source for all of your online sports wagering needs. You name it, they've got it over there at BetOnline. Head on over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit with our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV, BetOnline, where the game starts. We are going to start today, Bernie. You just mentioned a creatine shake, and well, actually, I want to get to that a little bit later. Let's start though. Sports Advantage has been doing incredibly well. And you are opening another new gym here in Waunakee next week. So I guess we want to first start saying congratulations. And, what's exciting you about expanding into Waunakee, and just sort of what's exciting you about everything that's happening at Sports Advantage right now?
Well, first of all, the gym is open in Middleton. We already have a gym in Waunakee.
I apologize.
So, yeah, all good, Matt. All good. No, I think, since the last time we talked, we added Joe Thomas and Ryan Groy as owners in Sports Advantage, and we've really not changed, but really intensified our mission to really providing for the state of Wisconsin. I think it's really important to us to bring a lot of like-minded people in to our organization right now to continue to grow the sports performance and training of athletes, and also the other things, like leadership, mental toughness, which is, severely missing right now in our youth, mindset, all those different things that we teach in our gyms as a part of, sports performance and strength and conditioning to the state of Wisconsin. For me, I've lived in Wisconsin for 48 of my 50 years. Joe, Ryan, they went to high school. They played at Wisconsin. They both live in Middleton now. It's just really important for all the things that we're doing right now. And with Ryan being from Middleton, he played football and did some other things at Middleton High School. That was a big thing for him. We opened a gym in Menominee Falls and Oconomowoc over the last year, kind of back where Joe Thomas is from. And Ryan, really had a strong passion to give back to the community that he was in. And that's what's so special about, we have a couple other guys that we brought on for our, we're opening a gym in Appleton in March from that area that are former Badgers that we brought on. And really just trying to create a mission of, quite honestly, and this is the way I think, right? We want to make Wisconsin the mecca of strength and conditioning. And, we're going to do it. You know what I mean? We're going to do it. And, and we do a lot of other things, education of coaches and parents and everything like that. But Middleton's going to be awesome. It's an incredible community, support, huge support. We're right next door to Kiva. And for those of you that have been in Madison before, Kiva's been a youth performance, athlete place for soccer and a lot of, volleyball and basketball and lacrosse and a lot of other things. They've been there for 25 plus years and, just really a foundational business and operation in Middleton. So we're really happy to be, kind of on site right next door to them in a brand new building. And I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait.
So, but you, first of all, I love that. I think that's fantastic. But you are doing more, not sports specific, right? It's the overall, it's like a holistic, attack to like make your body better so you can be better in whatever sport you are in.
Yeah, Bernie, you're going to get me going right away, right, on the sports specific stuff that, at the end of the day, we're sports performance coaches. Same thing like the strength coaches in college. Our job is to make you a better athlete, and that's what we do. And we're not skipping steps along the way. Our job is to make the kids, one, more mobile, more durable, stronger, faster, more explosive, able to stop and start. And that way, when they leave us or they go back to their sport coach, now sport coach, it's your job to do your job and make them, in your case, a better football player. So that is our thing. And you can't, I can't train football in the weight room. As much as you want to think you can't train in the weight room. Like, what am I going to do? Have you run around with a dumbbell in your hand, like high and tight with the 35s? You know what I mean? But that's like the new thing, the new craze, and everybody's trying to sell that. And that's just, you can't do it. The weight room, is essentially what we call GPP, general physical preparation for the body. So you can go do SPP, which is sports specific preparation. And you can't skip that step, no matter, who wants to sell you that you can. And so, we take athletes of all ages. I mean, obviously we have a good football following and football kids that train with us, basketball. I'll tell you what, though, the thing that I think I don't want to say most proud of, because I probably get in trouble for like picking one thing over another. Our female athletes, I'll put them against anybody for how they train, the results they get. We got some stud female athletes, and they train and they love to train. You know what I mean? They get in the squat rack. They want to jump. They want to sprint. They want to push sleds. They want to do everything, Bernie, that you did. And just because they can see how it impacts their body, they feel stronger, they feel more explosive, and they feel more confident. And so that's the unique thing about Sports Advantage, is that, 8 years old, we'll take you. 14 years old, soccer player, we'll take you. 17 years old, you want to get a scholarship, go play, at the University of Wisconsin, we'll take you. And wherever you're at, we're going to make you better.
What do you think is sort of the key to getting in the minds and sort of fostering this love of training? Because for a lot of, I know I sure as hell, when I was 14, 16, 17, did not want to like be pushed super hard, or didn't have a person in my life who like could really push me to work where I needed to go. How do you connect with kids and sort of bring the best out of them?
I mean, I think that's what's really unique about Sports Advantage, is it's a community and it's a culture, of what we have. We have an incredible process for integrating kids into training. So, every kid that wants to train with us, they have a free evaluation. So we can take them through, set of movements, like the functional movement screen and some other things where we can see where they're at. We sit down with mom and dad. We talk to them about where they're at. A lot of times mom and dad have thoughts that are kind of way out of the way. So we then get to become like the buffer between athlete and parent sometimes, of like where they're at, where they can be, and things like that. But it can be very intimidating for like a 12-year-old to be in there with, 20, high school varsity football players. And I think the very unique thing that we have and that we've built at Sports Advantage is our older kids end up being, like coaches for us. I mean, they're mentors for the young kids. They're constantly encouraging them. I mean, if you follow my social media, I have pictures of, a kid like, Jerry Kaminsky, who played at Sun Prairies in North Dakota, helping a 10-year-old, how to do an exercise, or Alex Erickson or Rob, even our NFL guys that are in there. And so I think meeting them where they're at is very important. Creating a culture that's welcoming to all athletes. Because a lot of times, if you walk down in the McLean weight room in 2002, I'd have a hard time, having some of our 12-year-olds want to stay and keep training, because it's a different environment. And so you have to, but you know what I mean? The environment is what keeps people there, because it's an atmosphere. And I think we do a great job, probably better than anyone, of taking, a welcoming atmosphere as well as the college atmosphere and melding it together. Because, there are days that you don't want to train, no matter how much you want to be in there, no matter how good you are, no matter how good your goals are. That atmosphere has to be really special. And, that's one of the really unique things that we do. The kids walk in, a lot of times we're going to get, kids from 4 or 5 different high schools. So, in 5 or 6 months, man, they're lining up against each other on Friday. And, every time you're red and black when you're in this, I don't care if you're wearing purple and yellow on Friday or green or whatever, you're red and black, and we break it down, hard work on 3, together on 6, and that together, really means a lot. And then those kids end up becoming friends. I mean, we have a lot of kids that, have gone to each other's graduation party, that trained together, that played, that were rivals, you know what I mean? And so that, everybody's welcome, everybody feels comfortable, but there is an atmosphere. And I think once kids feel comfortable, they really embrace that.
So, Bud, I have to loop this back to Wisconsin for a second. You said you wouldn't want a 12-year-old to be in the weight room but the environment was not for 12-year-olds.
I didn't say I wouldn't want them. I said they may not want to be.
No, and it wasn't a place for them. There was a lot of things happening in there that was appropriate for 18 plus group of guys in a room. But what did you take from Wisconsin and the weight room and the culture? Because literally everything you just said about some days you're not at your best, but you have your dudes there. And also your dudes are from everywhere, right? Like
Right.
I'm working out with Dantes from Cleveland, Ohio. We don't have the same backgrounds pretty much at all.
No.
Clink from Compton. I'm a Jewish kid from, Westchester County, New York. We don't have a lot but when we're in the weight room and that culture you guys built was there, we're all the same pretty much. So what did you take from, how did you guys build that culture? And then how did you take that into what you're doing now?
Yeah. I mean, college football is the ultimate coming together of, everything. You know what I mean? Because like you said, Bernie, you're going to get, kids from northern Wisconsin. You're going to get kids from New York. You're going to get kids from Florida. You're going to get kids that, have participated in powerlifting since they've been 14. You're going to get kids that have never picked up a dumbbell in their life. And I think the main thing is really the same thing, Bernie, is we tried to meet you guys where you're at to start, right? To start, here's where you're at. That's why we had the freshman group, that you were separate, right? To try and get you to feel comfortable. And I think a lot of schools do that. That's very similar to what we do with our young kids when they start, right? You're not off on your own because our gyms are smaller. But you have a certain prescribed set of things that you need to be able to get done in order to kind of go train with the varsity. You know what I mean? If you want to put it in college terms, right? Train with the starters and the guys that play. And so that was one of the things I really liked about how we did that at Wisconsin. And then just the melding of groups, right? I think that is always something that's really cool that you can see. I know a lot of colleges now do all the, you lift with your position group and things like that. And I think there's a place for that. But it's really, for you, you lift with Donovan, who's a center and from Hawaii, and then Book, or like Stocco, who's a quarterback, or, like Jason Jefferson. You had a wide variety of guys in there. And I think what the thing at Wisconsin in the early years, and it was different with Herb, in the early years, it was kind of like we're all struggling together. We just, that was kind of like the Herb Brooks thing, right? Like, we're not your friends. Like, you guys will fall in love with each other because of your dislike for us so much, I think was kind of like the way to go about it. And I think, it transcended, it changed because you could, you can't really, I don't think, do that as much anymore in any setting. And I think Herb, was so far ahead of the game on this. And obviously with the success they've had, he knew how to read the room as good as anybody, and he taught me that, just body language, who's talking, it was even like, who's talking to who, who are you talking to? Was it, a guy that we know you're going to grind with, or it was maybe a guy that likes to complain a little bit and you're over there kind of getting pulled into that. And that's your mindset for the day. You know what I mean? And so, learning how to read the room, I think, is so important. And so for us, now it's like, okay, you have a 12-year-old, female soccer player with, 7 high school basketball players, and then, a 15-year-old volleyball player, and they're kind of, maybe off to their side and they don't feel comfortable. And so that's, our trainers know that, hey, they're maybe a little nervous, they're a little intimidated. So that's a key for us to go over, hey, what's going on? How was school today? Things like that. And they liven up, you know what I mean? And so just showing them that you're there for them, I think, is so important in our environment. But learning how to read that, I think, is something that I got, from Wisconsin.
Dude, we broke you. Stockholm syndrome went both ways, man. I don't know. I just remember you, me, and Cleaver in the squat rack, and you're just like, man, you guys stink of alcohol. And we're like, well, we were just left like a couple hours ago. I think for the amount of time you spend with somebody, you really can't, you have to start finding things I just feel like as humans, you find things you like about them, because, Bod, we spent 4.5 years together, like almost multiple hours a day. Multiple times a day sometimes. So I feel like, right. you come in, to me, there was never any hate towards individuals. It was more like, shoot, I'm up at 5:30 to get to this stupid lift, but then you go to the lift and crush it. You guys didn't
Yeah.
give us a lot of time to BS with each other and talk. It was more like, what's your weight? Let's put it on. Let's go. I don't know. I just loved it.
Well,
First off, my
yeah, I mean-
mentality was to lift as heavy as possible, to crush people. Because that's all I knew, that this X got me to Y. But I want to bring it back to what you're doing, because you mentioned females and males together. When we worked out, the volleyball team really wasn't even supposed to walk through the weight room. Like, they were supposed to walk around, because you lose some focus possibly. What's it like to bring groups of, I mean, like, these are definitely different groups of people, but you said you're not sports specific, which is amazing.
Right.
But still, like, that is a very intimidating space. Listen, it could be opposite. It could be 5 soccer players and 1 basketball player. It could be anything. It's just an intimidating space in general. How do you break those walls down?
Well, let me tell you what's really intimidating, Bernie, is when some of our female volleyball players jumping higher than some of our football guys. Now, I mean, that's, you know what I mean? So that's how you break the intimidation right there. You know what I mean? But it really just comes down to, everybody understanding that, what we do at Sports Advantage, not at our high schools, but at Sports Advantage, everybody is there for, a certain reason. They want to get better. They're investing time and money outside of their normal, whatever their normal day is. And so I think, honestly, there's a genuine respect for each other. You know what I mean? And I would say that our older kids, have that respect for the younger kids. I want to tell you this, Bernie, and see if you can believe this. We have a kid that was in Wanakee with us as a 6th grader. He's now an 8th grader. He lifted 4 times a week for 47 weeks at 5:30 a.m. as a 6th grader and
Respect
a 7th grader.
that kid. Respect.
And then we have another kid that's right on pace to do that. And so, those are there going to be different conversations with those kids? Because 6th graders like, why in the hell am I up right now, Mom? You know what I mean? Kind of thing every now and then.
Yeah.
But, the respect that the athletes have for someone like that is, you can't even imagine it. And, we're lucky. We're lucky, but we also foster it. You know what I mean? You have to teach that to kids, to teach the respect, to teach the interaction. And that's what makes us different. You know what I mean? It's not just about, here's your workout, let's go train. We're a community, and the community is growing big time.
I would also imagine that brings a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? I just had it on the tip of my tongue. I imagine it sort of really would help grow self-confidence in a lot of the kids, especially because I could, see a place like that, especially if someone who keeps coming back and back, and you see these older kids, right? Like, you always want affirmation from your elders if they're 1 year or 100 years older than you. I think that's something that's pretty natural to want. So if you see that, that is, I know for me, when I was young, martial arts did that for me, right? It was the same sort of thing. So I can imagine that is another sort of, benefit of having these mixed groups of people working together.
Yeah, I think, that's one of the overlooked things that training does for you. It's confidence. And even me at 50 or almost 50, sorry, I'm not 50 yet, almost 50. You know what I mean? Oh, I could still do the 100s for a set of 12 on the dumbbell bench. I did the 110s, last week for a set of 9, almost 10, but almost dropped them on my face. You know what I mean? I didn't have a good spot. Bernie was at my elbows, but it does, right? If you are stronger, you feel confident, no matter what your age is, no matter, how old, no matter male or female. I think the weight room is a great way to build confidence. And getting from walking in the door to that point of training without the fear of somebody looking at you or the fear of thinking someone's judging you, because, if you're listening to this, no one's judging you if you're in the weight room. They're not. Everybody, I think, has a mutual respect. You know what I mean? Now, if you're someone that's skipping reps and you're doing that, you deserve what you get. And that's real talk. And skipping reps in our gym is no joke. You don't skip reps. It's just a respect thing, and to me, when you do things like that, or if you don't put your stuff away, you're not really disrespecting the gym, to me, you're disrespecting the other people in the gym. And that's where I have the problem with it. Like you could disrespect me all you want. But you start disrespecting the other people and the people that are working at the level that's expected. I mean, what's expected is expected, and that's the bottom line.
You're bringing back all these great thoughts of the weight room, get me all jacked up. Dude, I put all my stuff away. Every single time we move to a different workout, I put my weights back on the weight rack. I just can't help it because it becomes memory. I've been at Sports Advantage, the one in Verona, a bunch of times. This is a while ago now because I don't want to get up at 5 a.m. to work out with the washed up crew. That's not what you call them, but I'll call them the washed up crew. And I've seen this firsthand. I mean, I've been literally standing next to a 15-year-old, and just to me, and I think this is what's great about either playing at to me, it's either weightlifting in college and taking that next step when you don't really have to do it in high school, and then going to college and doing it all the time. Just by seeing someone in there who's like willing to go in there at night and in their free time, no matter who they are, like it's immediate, like, hey, good job. Can I jump in? Can I help you? Like, I don't know. To me, that's the culture I think you're building, and I absolutely love it. And I think you should be having all this success because what kid wouldn't want to be there? Now, I'm not saying at 5:30 in the morning, but
I think,
that's early, dude.
Bernie, like in order to do what we want to do, in the state of Wisconsin, we have to have good people, good trainers. And I've said this, for a while, and I firmly believe this with the guys that currently, and we just added a female strength coach, Tia Anderson, former women's strength coach at Wisconsin. She's going to be running our Middleton location. She's an absolute stud. Like she's going to be awesome. Is you have to have great people around you that, when I started Sports Advantage, essentially in 2012, when I was still at Wisconsin, just as a little private thing, and then opened the gym. I mean, not an ego thing, but it's reality. Sports Advantage was Brian Bott for the first, 3 or 4 years. Everybody assumed you're going to Botts. You know what I mean? It's not that anymore. And I'm glad. Like I'm truly glad. Because we're trying to build something special, and the brand is very special to me. And we couldn't do it without, the staff we have. And I mean, our trainers are, if I ever got hired, like if the Packers hired me, cause they got a lot of hamstring injuries and, they want to train the chain, we can help them with that. But I mean, I'd hire the guys, people on my staff. I wouldn't look anywhere else. I mean, we try and get the best of everything, right? They understand our systems. They can lead our systems. They help develop our systems, which is, different than what I started with, because like with JD was set in his ways, right? It was his way. And that's the way, that's the way it was. And I learned that. And now, okay, he wants it done this way. That's how we're going to do it. I mean, we have an open forum. Guys are bringing stuff to the table all the time. Hey, what about this? What about this? So it's we're constantly sharpening each other's edge is what we say. But the other thing that is really important is they care about people, because my first interview question is, how much do you want other people to win? Because if you're worried about you winning, the private sector, and even in college, like as a strength coach, you're not going to reach your potential. You have to it's a service-based profession. You have to be a servant leader. You have to think about others first. And so my first thought is always, how much better, how much more can we help our trainers to get to where they want to get to in life, hopefully as a career with us. And so, we have incredible people in our gyms. They care about the kids. They're integrated with the families. They're going to games. I mean, we got, going to graduation parties. I mean, it's different. It's just really different, Bern.
But you would have loved my graduation party. I won't say it online because my dad and mom are probably not very proud of it, but it was a rager.
Attention athletes. Do you want a frictionless and tailored financial planning experience to secure your future? Well, look no further. Introducing Oak Bridge Wealth Management, the premier financial planning firm for professional athletes. Led by wealth manager Chris Anicetti, Our team provides a unique and comprehensive approach, ensuring your financial success both on and off the field. We understand the unique challenges you face as a professional athlete, from managing cash flow habits to planning major business purchases and navigating complex contracts. That's why we've developed a proven process, working closely with our strategic partners to provide seamless solutions for your unique financial journey. Our services evolve with your career, offering short, mid, and long-term goal setting, portfolio optimization, real estate investments, and more. As you transition to life beyond the field, we support you with career development and philanthropic ventures. But don't just take our word for it. Top NFL players like Chase Roulier, Tyler Biadasz, Alec Ingold, and more trust Oak Bridge Wealth Management to guide them towards financial success. Troy Dye of the Minnesota Vikings says, "I really love the work that Chris and the rest of the Oak Bridge group do. I especially like the honesty and transparency when it comes to setting up financial goals and plans that best fit my needs and situation. It's time to elevate your financial game plan. Connect with Chris on Instagram at oakbridgewm_Anicete. That's oakbridgewm_ANICETE. And join the winning team."
Wait, you went back and said you said you had it was awesome. You said you had great people.
Yeah.
We just watched a team I really don't dislike, but a person I like a lot. Another bald weight training coach win the national championship, Ben Herbert.
Yeah.
You watched him as a player. You watched him as, pretty much start up from an intern. Was he called an intern at one point?
Yeah.
I don't even know what he was.
He was really like my intern. Yeah.
So what do you see that's so special with him, and how does Michigan do it? Because those guys look bigger, faster, stronger than a lot of people I've seen out in the field. They look overpowering is the better word. And every article you read is because Ben Herbert did it. So talk to me about Herbs and his success from, being literally too small nose guard to being one of the best, if not the best, weight training coaches in college sports.
Well, Matt, this definitely will make your video clip. Okay, let me get ready to do a Herb here. So I'm right.
He's always sweating for sure.
Yeah. So I think what makes Herb's special is a couple things, and I've been asked this a few times because I've gotten a chance to talk to some different people about him. He may be one of the most disciplined people I've ever met. I mean, his hangers in his closet are like an inch apart. Everything's facing the same way. He gets up at the same time every single day. Every now and then, there'll be a text message from him or from me at about the same time. We're kind of built a little bit, a little left to center when it comes to that, but and he's relentless. He truly is relentless in his pursuit of what he wants. He will work endlessly to get it right. And I just think, like I said before, he has an understanding. He has an incredible pulse of what's going on. He has a great feel for what's going on. And I think, he's continued to improve as a coach. As far as if you strength and conditioning, you said the X's and O's of strength and conditioning. I think he's really gotten better and better as the year go on. But I think he's also proved that, physical football still wins. I'm not going to share the text he sent me after the national championship game, but at the end of the day, running for over 300 yards in the national championship game, that pretty much says it all.
Butt.
Oh, they destroyed them up front, and
destroyed them.
They were the more physical team, and that's why they were able to also come back and beat Alabama. Is they were more physical. And I think the other thing, and I'll just say this about Michigan, I know it's a Badgers podcast, but if you go back and watch some of the interviews from that team, you could see a lot of Herb in the interviews. And what I mean by that is, even when they had Harbaugh on or the other coaches or the players, everyone was giving credit to somebody else. They weren't taking credit. They were giving it, spreading it out. And I think that, to me, I said that before they played Alabama. I said they're going to win the national championship because they're the most connected team of the four. And to me, connected teams are successful teams. And, at the end of the day, you could see a lot of Herb in that. And that's obviously, why I'm sure Harbaugh, he was his first hire in L.A. You know what I mean? Herb's is going to L.A., with the Chargers. And he's just really unique. You know what I mean? And I don't use the word built different because if I say someone, in my opinion, if I say someone's built different, that means they work harder than me. And I never want to admit that anyone works harder than me. He's just the two things about him that make him really special is his discipline and just his relentless approach to everything he does. And he keeps that thing nice and smooth on Saturdays. I mean, he's the one
Never seen him with hair.
He's the one that got me to go bald.
I've never seen him with peach fuzz. That's how disciplined he is. I've never even seen him with peach fuzz in my entire life of being around.
On game day, it is, I don't know if he gets turtle wax out or what for that thing, but I mean that, but we still have a great relationship, and I'm very grateful for that. Hopefully, I was a mentor for him. I know he was, mentor for me, and when they played in Wisconsin a couple years ago, we hadn't seen each other. Think about this now. They played like a couple years ago. We hadn't seen each other since after the Rose Bowl game against Stanford. We hadn't seen each other. That was like 8-10 years. Now we'd message back and forth, but so I was up in his room. We were talking, chopping it up for about 2 or 3 hours. It was great. Love the guy to death, and he deserves all the credit he's getting. I mean, he is in college football. To me, he's the best in college football.
I would agree. So you mentioned creating that culture in the weight room.
Yes. That
dude took he's got some like cult followers. Greg Root is one of them. I'm pretty close. I'm not a cult follower. But I'm very close because that dude literally was a 5th-year senior when I walked in as a terrible fullback my first year. I was a red shirt, and that dude and Nick Ryson were like, dude, come with us to the bar. That to me is special, man. That doesn't happen. Okay, but it's funny and it's ridiculous. But literally, we're at the Red Shed drinking whatever we want. And yes, I'm underage, but it happens at college campus. I don't think anyone doesn't know that. Yeah. But that culture, that makes me feel so much better when we're going with starting defensive guys. Nick Ryson played in the NFL for forever. So I think that was special. That happens, I'm sure, at everywhere. But to me, it was real special at Wisconsin to just jump in. Anelli's driving us around in his pickup truck. I'm not a 9th grader. I'm 18 years old, and he's like, "You better come to this house party. You can't not come." So, I think yes, that's a little bit of the culture outside, but it starts in the weight room because that's the first time you meet anybody. Nick Davis is dude. Oh yeah, Nick Davis, we went up and did the
Nick Davis just bicep curls for days, right? No,
for days, even after doing the stadiums.
A story I can tell you about Herb's, when he was interning, he had a chance to go to the Steelers, and, the conversation that JD had with him and me, a little bit, not as much, but JD was like, do you really want to do that? You have an opportunity here. You think you'd be really good at this. And I just look back and I'm thinking, man, if he'd have gone to the Steelers,
and that was where he's from, wasn't it? Wasn't he a big Steelers guy?
That was where he's from, right? So it's like, you know what I mean? I think it's a great lesson for young people to trust your elders sometimes. We're trying to steer you in the direction that we think is best for you. We're not always motivated by ourselves, and I think that's another quality. I think he does a great job of listening, taking it in, and then reviewing it, and looking out what's best and what's the right choice,
I was about to, and I totally agree. And then to finish that, when we were doing the stadiums, and you jog down to the field to be done, and I was on my hand, on my knees, standing, but my hands on my knees, and Nick Davis just walks up. He goes, "Dude, just stand up, man. Nobody here really wants we don't accept people with their hands. Just don't look like you're tired." And I stood up and I was dying, and nobody else was on their hands and knees on their knees. I'm like, man, it's just these little things that you remember that you're like, if Nick Davis didn't say this, that behavior might have stuck in where my hands are on my knees. Now I'm like, you bottom in the weight room, I'll do whatever I want. I'm putting my hands on my knees when I'm tired. I don't care.
Well, I'm just going to share this with you, Bernie, and probably all the players that, because after a while, I wasn't that big on that. Because to me, I didn't believe in the, standing up tall. You actually get more oxygen. This is a research study if you're bent over with your hand on your knee. So it has nothing to do with like oxygen. It's just like, are you tough or are you not? You know what I mean? And it's just it's just a toughness thing. Are you tough or no? Like if you're bent over, like you're actually smarter than everyone else, but everyone else is tough. You know what I mean? So you're like, yeah, I'm bent over. I'm going to get an A in my test, but you guys are going to get C's, but you're tougher than me. Congratulations.
Science.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I miss the good old days of working out. Wait, okay, so Bott, let's tie it into Wisconsin Badgers a little bit.
Okay.
We have so I'm sure you've met Brady and you've had conversation with him.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Brady Collins as a colleague / weight trainer? And what do you think he brings to the table that is maybe different, maybe unique?
So, I mean, Brady and I have conversed a little bit here and there. Obviously, we talked a little bit more in the last off season and a little bit during the summer, not very much. And I don't know him well enough to, be that guy that's wishing him good luck every Saturday and things like that. And I've also learned to not, how do I want to say this? I don't want to say judge because judge makes it sound negatively. To evaluate, what happens based on a 1 minute Instagram post, because that's like 1 minute of what they're doing. To me, it really seems like that they're really ramping up, competition in everything that they're doing, which I think is really important. I think, unfortunately, that needs to be taught nowadays. But philosophically, I really don't, have a grasp for what they do. You know what I mean? So, I can't really speak to that, but I think, there's a lot of energy that goes into everything they're doing. And I think, as long as when you start to look at our kids developing, I think in sports performance, and this is like, I call it like X Twitter, or X strength coach or whatever. Everybody wants to vie for their way of doing things, because as a strength coach, we're all egomaniacs anyways, right? I mean, we all think we're right, but in all reality, like I look at it as like, are you getting results? Are you limiting injuries? And do the kids enjoy coming to train? And if that's what's happening, if you're using machines, great. If you're power cleaning, great. If you're box squatting, great. Are you getting results? And are the kids then taking that to the field, and is it showing on the field? I can go back because I know more of what Herbs does. So I can see it translate. I don't really know. So I can't really say where the guys were, where they are now, things like that. You just see a lot of energy and you see a lot of, unique stuff going on. And, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, kind of wait and see. You know what I mean? Like wait and see. Like, and I think in college, and it's not just at Wisconsin. I think it's everywhere in college football now. Everybody's wait and see. I mean, you got Ohio, you got Ohio State, paying $15 million, I read an article for NIL guys or for transfer portal guys. I mean, whether that's true or not, the fact that article's out there is like, could you imagine, Bernie, I was thinking about this. This is going to be a great story and you're going to love this. Could you imagine in the NIL world when you hurdled that guy from Penn State? I would guarantee you that Jumpman and Nike would have messaged you. We're going to give you $1 million. We're gonna have the Hammer Jumpman version, and then you would have been like, "I'm all over it." Or
the Jewish Jumpman. I mean,
you'd have been like, "Hey, I don't want any money, but I'm going to just give you my Wando's tab every Saturday night. You're going to cover that, and just give me some gear, and I'll be happy." You know what I mean? I was thinking about that.
I would just walk around with a. One, I hope I had better money people in my corner than just take my Wando's tab. But there were a bunch of guys on our squad who would have been. I would not have been the most paid guy. Brooks Bollinger probably would have made millions. Lee Evans. I mean, you're talking about these are dudes. And nowadays it's hard to wrap my brain around the NIL, the transfer portal, any of that stuff. Because there's a lot of guys who stuck with it and then played and then went to the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's kind of not the culture anymore. And I find that to be sad. I like the transfer portal, what I think it was set up for, to get guys who are not comfortable and not happy to leave. Now it's just like anyone, anytime. You can go to two schools in a month, really. It's so wacky.
I think, Bernie, with the transfer portal, the one change they have to make, and this otherwise the postseason is going to be done. They have to move the transfer portal after the national championship game. That way, kids can't, you can't leave because, like, I mean, you look at, like, I'm trying to think of the Ohio State Missouri game. I mean, there's like you don't even know anybody's name that's playing, and this is just me. Like, this is just me, and so, like, I'm probably the minority thought process in this. If you choose not to play in your bowl game, or you shouldn't be allowed to go on the bowl trip. That's a reward. You know what I mean? Like, if you choose, if you're like, I'm not going to play. Okay, well, you're choosing not to be a part of the team. You don't get to go to Disneyland, and you don't get to go to the Beef Bowl and all. That's just, as an outsider looking in, I think there's a couple things that the NCAA can look at and be like, okay, like, if you're going to transfer, you don't get to go, or if you're sitting out, which in all reality, like, if you're a player that's going to be a top 5 pick, and that's like you're playing in the Duke's Mayo Bowl, and it's like one of those things where I don't want to get hurt. Great, then to me, I think Braylon. I'm not sure if Braylon did this or not, but he started training right away. You know what I mean? If that's what your move is, great, congratulations. You've earned that, right? You've put film out there, and no one, I don't think anyone, is going to think negatively, but then go do it. Like, go do it. You know what I mean? Like, Bernie, honestly, like, if you resign your job, are they going to take you on, the end of the year work trip? No, you resigned, you're gone. So now I'm going to rabbit hole this. If we're going to pay guys, which is kind of what's going on, and you resign.
Pre-workout, just to let you know, Brad, real quick.
I took mine right before. Spark, no water, just right to the hatch. Just. You
are crazy. You do that. You drink water after, or you just try to.
Yeah. But if you're gonna do that, then I think we wish them well and say, go ahead and go. You know what I mean? Because that's real world, and if we want to, yeah.
So we've only got a couple minutes left. But I have a 2-part question that actually the 2 parts have nothing to do with each other. But the first one is off of this. Do you think that this is also creating too great an expectation on 17, 18, 19-year-olds to come into and be like a giant difference maker immediately because they're pressured by NIL, they're pressured by social media, and do you think that is sort of going to have an adverse effect and lead, in my opinion, it leads more and more people to the portal because they haven't had this immediate effect like everyone is, quote unquote, expecting them to?
Yes, because I think the issue that you're having right now is, and it's not really the kids thing, it's more, you have to recruit your own kids now to stay. I mean, that you know what I mean? I think Nick Saban said that, in an interview. Like, you're not recruiting high school kids anymore. You're recruiting your own kids first. You're recruiting other people's kids second, and then you're recruiting high school kids. And so I think you're right, Matt, is that, like, as a high school kid, you're just like, if I'm not playing in a year or two, I got to go find somewhere to play. And, like with you, Bern, and like the guys at Wisconsin, like our guys, and Wisconsin's built on guys playing their best football when they're juniors and seniors. Well, if a lot of guys would have left, you know what I mean, who hadn't played for 3 years, you'll never know, and I think that's really the hard thing is being a fan of college football like I am, is you don't get to see those developmental stories as much anymore. Guys that walk in, whatever their backstory was, because, those are interesting too. And then just seeing them grow for 3 years, and then a guy gets hurt on special teams and all of a sudden this guy's out there and he's making tackles, he's making plays, like a guy like a Joe Stelmacher, right? He's all over the field. And then oh my God, she can play
Name a
safety.
lot of guys.
Our roster was loaded with them, right? Because that's the way it was back then. And so now I think, like you said, Matt, I think it does. I think it puts pressure on high school kids, and I think it also, hurts their ability to make a decision where they're going to go, because they don't know if they're going to get an offer like right away. Some kids, there's a couple kids in the state of Wisconsin we train that are getting offers from like all over the country. So they know they're going to go play. But what about the kid that's, a little undersized O-lineman? Is he going to get an offer from a mid-major D1, or is he got to go play D2, or can he go play in the WEAC, which is a great conference? And so there's a lot of more pressure. I think you're exactly right, Matt, on the high school kids.
All right, completely unrelated. So I have it on good authority that, and I quote, Bott is the best protein shake maker in the history of making protein shakes. Some of the best flavor combos you can think of. So, Bott, what is the key to a great protein shake?
Oh, man. Well, one, when you taste test them, because that was the key. That was, that's why I put on like 25 pounds once we started adding like peanut butter and bananas and stuff like that. Man, I can't make the shakes if you don't.
Strawberry was so good.
Oh yeah. I think the key, the key to making a good protein shake that I think goes overlooked is you have to put the liquid in first, right? Burn. If you put the powder in and then put the liquid in, now we had the hand blenders. Now, they got these industrial things that, that they have at the all-inclusive resorts that I was just at. They never burn out. They explode everything, right? But if you put the powder in first and then put the liquid in, the powder, when you put the liquid in and blend it sticks to the side. So you lose some, and then it kind of thins it out a little bit. So then if you are one of those guys, you got to put an extra scoop in to get the same amount of calories. I think that was fun because we came up with some mean concoctions. I tell you what, you know what I mean?
And the blender, or those hand blenders, were in Bott's office. Yeah. It was like his desk and then somebody else's desk, and then it was like the nutritional section. But each year, this is right after the shoebox, when they took everything out of there, and then slowly you got. Remember, it was like you had a metric shake; it could be vanilla or chocolate, and that was it.
Well,
and then it became.
We also had chocolate peanut butter burn, but those found their way into my desk that no one else could have because we had limited supplies, and that was my favorite. So JD would be like, "Where's the chocolate peanut butter?" I don't know.
But the hand blender was in there, and you'd blend it up quick. Oh man, it's funny. Every time I talk to someone, like, you just remember funnier things about like your daily life. You mentioned competition. Yeah. Dude, when I don't remember what year you guys enacted it, but it was like, we're going to win in the fourth quarter. And at the end of every lift, it was like doing those push-ups. It was like Monday push-ups. Tuesday might have been dips or pull-ups, which was ridiculous because I couldn't even do a pull-up.
Yeah.
And then it was Thursday. I can't remember what it was, dips maybe. And then Friday was core holds.
Core holds. And
it was, you guys always put me up against either Sparky on the dips, which I weighed 100 pounds more than that dude, or who was it? Stocko on the core holds.
He's still holding his plank from like 2006.
I literally held it for 5 minutes once and lost, which is like, I should have just stopped at a minute.
And you were like, Bott, this is BS. I'll just go run.
I was shaking like crazy. But what I loved is, like I was like, man, how the hell am I going to beat Sparky in dip off? This Scott Starks, man, like he's 110 pounds soaking wet and was pretty cut up. But I'd get on there and I'm like, you know what? F it, man. They put me on this for a reason. Like I can't just get crushed here. Like, and I also trusted, I'm like, Bott and JD wouldn't do that to me, I don't think. And I was ripping him. I don't think I didn't really beat him because, like, let's be real. Like, the dude, if I went first, which is another thing I hated, I always would wait on the last machine to see if Sparky would jump over there quick so I could just know what rep he did.
He wanted to get through his workout quick. So you're like, how many did you do? Oh, Bott, come on.
How many do? 82? Great. Here we go.
Yeah.
But when did you become? When I know we're running out of time, but like, when did I actually found value in that? Like, I thought that was fun. Dudes were screaming at each other, like cheering them on. I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy losing all the time and then having to go run extra for it. But when did you get, like, what was the thought process behind that?
We just wanted guys to compete. It was just, we wanted to put you in scenarios where you had to compete every day for something. You know what I mean? And we, we didn't want to go, over the top with things. We wanted to do stuff that we felt was relevant, that you'd be doing in a workout. Now when Herb took over, we drafted teams. So we had to draft teams, and then like it was called the Tone Setters. So he had this big WWF belt, and you had to compete. So the first year it was like the D line and the linebackers against the O line quarterbacks again. So there was like multiple. So like the D line linebackers, right? They can do anything good. Push prowlers, they can sprint, they can run agilities. So they just crushed everybody. So the second year I was like, we can't do that. We got to draft. So me, Herbs, Jameel, and Jeff had a draft. And then you got points. You got points on your entrance. So I'm like, I get to go last. My team goes last. Cool. So like Jameel had his guys come out. Herb had his guys come out. I got my guys in with the garage door to the McLean. They all got their scooters. So they're all on their scooters. And we tried to go get Coach Edie had, I think, the women's basketball team training in the den. And we were going to have some of them come out and ride in on the scooters with us. But like we had the garage door opened and it hit the Stone Cold music and they come driving in on their scooters. And it was like, it was nuts. It was crazy. Herb's like, you guys won. That was the best. So we got points for that. But I remember in that it got testy because it was like we had a pretty significant little competition. I don't know if I can say wager or not between the four of us. And I think the winner got like tornado room on the other three. Well, something happened, and I said something to Jameel, and Jameel I thought he was going to rip my head off. And and he was, and I'd never seen that out of him because Jameel was like one of the calmest, nicest guys, and he was like, he came over to me like, oh shit, like no, I'm good, we're good, Jameel, you're good. I'm like, I'm just like saying, but it got intense, and he went after her. Herb and him were arguing because I mean, tornado room is that's good eating, you know what I mean? So, but I think that competition is important. I know they're trying to do that now, and I think that you gotta compete if you want to be a winner.
Dude, I once did a coin flip with Herbs for Delmonico's.
Oh yeah,
that's how dumb I am. I lost, obviously, but
Herbs
and I got to have dinner together on a date.
I was going to do this weight loss thing where I had to get down to like a certain weight and then a bod pod, and I missed the bod pod by like 0.5%. So we're like wagering. I go, I bet you $100 I can do this. And he goes, no, bro. He goes, let's bet 3 months of our mortgages. I'm like, dude, that's like 10,000. Like, I'm like, no, like, what are you talking about right now? No way. He goes, you won't do it unless you feel like you really got something behind it. I go, $100 is good.
Those dudes are the worst. Those are the craziest gamblers. Those are the guys I won't. Yeah. Bet your house. No, thanks, buddy. Here's $100.
Yeah. And then like the last week he's bringing in pizza. Yeah. So.
Yeah. But thank you for coming on. I literally love chopping it up with you
guys. I love what you guys. Yeah, I love what you guys are doing, man. It's great. I'm gonna put a little plug in. February 7th in Middleton from 6 to 8, 8210 Forsythia Street. We have an open house. Ryan Groy meet and greet. We'll also have I think Travis Beckham and some other former Badgers. Anybody that's in town, stop by 6 to 7. We have a meet and greet at our Middleton location. And then 7 o'clock, we got, how they used to do the hit videos, Burn?
Yeah.
We got a pretty good one set up, ready to go.
The hit video. I was going to say, you also guys used to send us videos of dudes like doing the workouts so we could do it over the summer on a VHS. I wish I still had that. We've got
a hit video that starts out with that corn entrance, and then it's got some other stuff. It's pretty good. So, and then our Appleton location opens in March. So Appleton, Wisconsin, our seventh gym. And I haven't shared this with anybody, but I'll share it on the podcast first. Young Cameron Bott will be the director in Appleton. So my son will be running that gym, which is little emotional, but I mean, it's awesome. Yeah.
I
Proud
love
moment.
that kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Brett,
nice
he
to
was
watch.
like, he was just
I
being
like watching
born
that
when
kid
you
grow
were
up.
playing.
I
Yeah.
know.
So we're excited. Yeah. So
That's so cool.
Yeah.
But I'm wishing you the best, man. I
Thanks,
love you.
guys.
I love what you're
Thank-
bringing to the students. It's great.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in here to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by BetOnline.ag and Oak Bridge Wealth Management. Until next time, take it easy and on Wisconsin.